The cat leapt into the air. In the next second, she turned into a human girl. Her mask accidentally fell from the rooftop. Seeing this, the girl jumped straight down from the 6th floor without hesitation. In midair, she merged with the cat mask once again. The moment she landed, she turned back into an adorable cat. Still shaken, she hid in a corner to calm herself down. That was when a handsome boy appeared before her. The sight of him instantly made her swoon, because standing in front of her was the boy she liked the most. The girl's name was Miyo. She had an unhappy childhood. When she was 10 years old, her mother left her. From then on, Miyo lived with her father and stepmother. Although her stepmother treated her kindly, Miyo always felt like she didn't belong in this family. Even so, Miyo's personality stayed bright and cheerful, especially whenever she saw Hinode. Miyo completely ignored what a girl should act like. She would run up to him and bump him with her backside. Hinode didn't quite know what to do with her, but Miyo never felt embarrassed in the slightest. She would openly express her love for Hinode in front of their classmates. Miyo wasn't very popular at school, because she was too loud. It was as if she had endless energy, in order to stay close to Hinode at all times. The first thing Miyo did after coming home every day was crawl under her bed to find the cat mask hidden there. Then she would turn into a little cat and sneak out of the house. Meanwhile, on the other side, Hinode seemed to have a sixth sense. He would head straight to the backyard, calling out the little cat's name. Hinode named this cat Taro. He always said he could smell the sunshine on Taro's fur, but he didn't know that this adorable little cat was actually the Miyo he found so annoying. Whenever Hinode was with Taro, his whole heart belonged to it. Taro wanted to stay by Hinode's side every single minute, and whenever a stranger came close, it would give a stern warning. Hinode doted on it endlessly. He would even make food with his own hands just to feed Taro, but Taro only ate a couple of bites. Before the alarm clock rang, calling her back, she retraced her steps along the eaves, then leapt high into the air from the rooftop. By the time she came back down, Taro had turned back into Miyo. She was overjoyed, even if she had to become a cat. As long as she could receive Hinode's affection, Miyo felt endlessly happy. On the other side, Hinode couldn't stop thinking about Taro. He simply didn't know that his favorite cat was the same Miyo who constantly exasperated him. But becoming a cat came with a price. One summer night during a festival, Miyo met a mysterious mask seller. The mask seller gave her a mask that would turn her into a cat whenever she wore it. So she put on the mask, turned into a cat, and stayed by Hinode's side. But the mask seller's mask wasn't free. He wanted to take Miyo's face. He sold cat identities to humans who wanted to be cats, and human identities to cats who wanted to be human. That was the mask seller's business. When he saw how much Miyo enjoyed being a cat, he became even more determined. He tried to convince Miyo to give up her human life completely and become a cat forever. Miyo refused his offer, but it was obvious she'd rather be Taro the cat than Miyo, the girl with divorced parents, who now lived with a stepmother. Only when she turned into Taro and stayed by Hinode's side could Miyo feel true warmth and love, something she had never experienced before. She wanted to tell Hinode that she was really Miyo, but every time the words reached her lips, she swallowed them back, because she was afraid of losing him. One day, Miyo overheard someone speaking badly about Hinode. She was so furious that she jumped straight down from a high place. A tree branch cut her right leg. Even so, she pretended to be tough, wanting to stand up for Hinode. Hinode arrived just in time and pulled her away. He saw Miyo's lunch scattered all over the ground, so he shared his own homemade lunch with her. Miyo was over the moon. She even announced to the whole school that Hinode's cooking was absolutely delicious. Hinode was very helpless about this, but he felt the scent of Taro on her. Back at home, Miyo danced with excitement. She was still immersed in Hinode's recent care for her, unable to extricate herself. But not long after, longing surged in her heart, so she immediately transformed into Taro and headed towards Hinode's house. Only today, Hinode wasn't in his room. It turned out that Hinode's entire family relied on his grandfather's pottery for income, but now his grandfather was getting old. The money coming in was less and less. As the eldest son, Hinode naturally took this responsibility on his shoulders, even though his family told him not to worry, that he should just focus on preparing for college. Hinode still wanted to help out as soon as possible. That's why he stayed up late at night practicing pottery. Only when Taro came by would he take a short break. He looked at the wound on Taro's leg. Then he suddenly said that Miyo's leg was hurt too. The truth was, Hinode secretly admired Miyo. He really envied her bold and fearless personality. Hinode felt he was timid and weak. All he wanted was to inherit his grandfather's pottery and raise the family income, but he never had the courage to say it out loud. His words struck a chord with Miyo. Wasn't she the same way? The thing she most wanted to say, she never dared to speak. Seeing Hinode looking downcast, Miyo decided to muster up her courage and do something. Meanwhile, the mask seller still hadn't given up. He appeared from time to time, urging Miyo to become a cat forever. Miyo said no with her lips, but deep inside she was already wavering. She wondered if maybe the world no longer needed Miyo. Wouldn't it be better to stay by Hinode's side as a cat forever? The next day, Miyo went straight to Hinode. She planned to give him the love letter she had spent all night writing, but suddenly, two boys snatched it from her hands. Then they read it aloud in front of the entire class. Miyo's face turned crimson with rage as she tried to grab it back, but she couldn't stop them from finishing it, until Hinode walked over with an unhappy look, took the letter back, the contents of which embarrassed him greatly. He angrily told Miyo that he now detested her. Yuriko saw how many times Miyo was rejected by Hinode. Her heart ached for her, so she tried to persuade Miyo to give up, but Miyo still refused to give up. Even though Miyo was deeply hurt, there was always a smile on her face. But once she got home, she cried alone in secret. Her stepmother's kindness only made Miyo feel worse. She couldn't accept it at all. She felt like she didn't matter in this house. No one cared if she was happy or sad. Miyo grabbed the cat mask and ran out the door. She was completely disappointed in her family now. Whether it was her father, her mother, or her stepmother, it didn't matter to her anymore, as far as Miyo was concerned. Having Hinode was enough, but why did he hate her so much? Did it mean she could only stay by Hinode's side as Taro for the rest of her life? At that moment, she felt being a cat was so much better than being human. Cats didn't have to wake up early for school. They didn't have to try so hard to please everyone. Most importantly, Hinode liked her when she was a cat. The mask seller knew the time had come, so he kept tempting Miyo to become a cat forever. Right then, Miyo's heart finally wavered completely. Suddenly, a human face mask slipped off Miyo's face. The mask seller snatched it away instantly. It turned out this was the mask that allowed cats to become human. Only when a person truly no longer wanted to be human would this mask fall off. Now Miyo had become a cat forever. Unless she wore that human mask again, she could never turn back. This threw her into a panic. She hadn't even made up her mind yet, but the mask seller had already stolen away her right to live as a human. A few days later, Miyo's father came to the school. He found Hinode and Yuriko. Because Miyo had already been missing for several days, he searched everywhere but couldn't find a trace of her. Of course, Yuriko knew this must have something to do with Hinode. She regretted not persuading Miyo earlier to face reality. Then, in anger, she told Hinode, "If you really hate her, then stay away from her." But deep down, Hinode didn't hate Miyo at all. In fact, he even felt guilty about what had happened before, so he wanted to help too. He wanted to find Miyo as soon as possible. At that moment, Miyo, now in cat form, was planning to sneak home for a look, but she happened to see her mother and stepmother fighting over her disappearance. That was when she realized they actually both cared about her a lot, but now it was too late. Helpless, she turned around and walked away. When Miyo learned that Hinode was searching for her, she was overjoyed, so she climbed onto Hinode's shoulder and accompanied him as he searched for the missing Miyo. Hinode went everywhere, but there was still no sign of her. His guilt grew stronger and stronger. His understanding of Miyo deepened as well. He finally realized Miyo only seemed noisy and reckless on the outside, but inside, she had secrets no one knew. Miyo, in cat form, looked at Hinode, but she gradually discovered she could no longer understand what Hinode was saying. At that moment, she had completely turned into a real cat.
失敗したな.
And more than that, after a few days, another Miyo suddenly appeared. This fake Miyo completely replaced her. That imposter wore Miyo's human mask to class. She approached the boy Miyo loved most, Hinode. She even got along harmoniously with Miyo's father and stepmother. Miyo finally realized this fake Miyo was actually the cat who had always stayed by her stepmother's side. Her name was Kanako. Miyo angrily confronted her. She demanded that Kanako give her human identity back. Kanako immediately refused. Kanako told her, "Humans live longer than cats, and my life as a cat is already reaching its end, so I want to take your place and stay by your stepmother's side forever." But when Kanako became the human Miyo's own lifespan was split in two. Half of it went to Kanako, and half went to the mask seller. That meant Miyo not only couldn't turn human again, She might even die. Heartbroken, Miyo followed a road that only cats could see. It led her all the way to the mask seller's lair. The mask seller told her, "When the next temple festival comes, you'll turn into a real cat." Then, stepping into the air, he walked straight up into the sky, and right in front of Miyo, a massive tree reaching into the heavens suddenly appeared. Although she was terrified, she still summoned her courage and stepped forward. Meanwhile, Kanako went straight to Hinode. She turned back into a cat in front of him. Kanako realized that Miyo's stepmother had been searching for her non-stop. What she missed the most was being Kanako the cat. This made Kanako realize that everything she had done was wrong, and Hinode finally understood too. Taro was Miyo all along. No wonder they both had the same scent. Kanako told Hinode, "Now only you can save Miyo." Then Kanako led Hinode to a place called Cat Island. There stood a sacred tree. It was this tree's power that turned humans into cats. The streets were full of cats of every kind, but Hinode couldn't see them. To let him see this place, Kanako simply found a mask for him to wear. Strangely, when Hinode put it on, only his hands turned into cat paws. Suddenly, the mask seller appeared. Kanako said she wanted to give the human mask back to Miyo, but the mask seller refused. He was afraid that if he returned it, the share of Miyo's lifespan he had taken would vanish. Meanwhile, Miyo was still searching for the mask seller's whereabouts. On Cat Island, she met a group of people who, like her, had turned into cats. All of them had already lost the chance to return to human form. So they decided to help Miyo, who still had a sliver of hope left. They launched an attack on the mask seller, then fled with Miyo to his mask shop. At the same time, Hinode and Kanako were trapped inside, completely at a loss. Miyo pushed the door open, and at last, they reunited. Kanako handed over the human mask, but when Miyo put it on, she still didn't turn back into a human. Just then, the mask seller appeared again, and seized Miyo in an instant. Miyo struggled with all her might, and leapt down from the sky to escape. Hinode rushed to her side, scooped her up, and ran toward the exit. On the way, he finally confessed his true feelings, how grateful he was for everything she had done for him. But the mask seller blocked their path once more, and locked both of them in a prison beneath the sacred tree. This scene was like the moment they first met. At that instant, Miyo wished more than ever to become human again, and Hinode decided to open his heart to her completely. Together, they fought back with everything they had. Wrestling with the mask seller, the sacred tree awakened, its light washing over them, draining their strength and leaving them limp on the ground. The mask seller, satisfied, began to draw out Miyo's lifespan. Hinode lunged forward with all his strength, knocking Miyo's stolen lifespan free, a glowing orb that rolled to the ground. Seeing how hard Hinode was fighting for her, Miyo was deeply moved. She, too, bravely threw herself into the struggle against the mask seller, but they were no match for him. Just then, the group of cats arrived in time. They quickly subdued the mask seller, and Miyo finally reclaimed her stolen lifespan. Hinode caught her tightly in his arms. With heartfelt sincerity, he told her that from now on, he wanted to understand everything about her, all of her. Beneath a sky filled with dazzling fireworks, they confessed their love to each other. In the end, they returned to the real world together with Kanako, and Miyo finally became human again. This was a wondrous encounter, beginning when Miyo first put on that cat mask, and ending with her putting on the human mask. A journey of the heart, a quiet redemption. In life, we all face setbacks, with family, with school or work, with love. When no one can comfort us, we often look for some refuge for the soul. The mask seller represents the excuses we make to escape reality. We think running away will bring happiness, but it only leads to more trouble and hardship. Only by gathering our courage and facing life head-on, only by becoming stronger, can we protect what we truly treasure. Face the hardships boldly, move forward without fear. Happiness may be waiting just around the next corner.